Hi and welcome. Thank you for joining us for the NJ Real Estate Show. We're so glad you can be with us. And most of all, I am excited to have on the show with us today Joe Silva. Joseph Silva from Silva Financial. He's a comprehensive financial consultant, and he is filling us in today about the credit report. And we're going to continue now. Joe, you said that things could come up on your credit report that you did not know that it was there, or there could be a misuse of social security numbers being inverted. Once someone finds out that they have something like that on their credit report, what can they actually do to fix it?
Well, again, one of the major things you do, the first thing is obviously pull the report. Make sure you pull your credit report. You can get it free once a year, so absolutely at a minimum you should get it once a year. But if you're planning major activities such as purchasing a home, or that you know that there's activity negatively affecting your credit rating, and you may be going to have to find another place to live that may inquire about your credit, you may pull it more often. It may cost you a few dollars to do so, but may be an investment well worth it if you discover something on that credit report that's not correct, and to increase your credit rating, your score by 50 points, 100 points potentially, may be well worth that cost to get that report. So once you actually find that something is wrong, you do need to contact the actual credit reporting agency. Again, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax may have different information. So if it's wrong on all three, of course you need to contact all three. There are some organizations out there that will try to say we can handle all three for you and take care of it. Some are good, some are not. I'm just simply saying that you can easily do it directly by contacting all three yourself individually. And first, they'll ask you for something official in writing. What is wrong? Please let us know what it is. And then typically, if it's in the case of a credit card or some type of debt that is incorrect, they'll usually want you to get something from that company. If it's a card that's closed now and it's still showing as open, you may have to get that letter from the credit card company saying that this account is closed, and they will do it if you call their 1-800 number. And again, you can usually find that online.
Now, when you actually get the credit report from the credit union bureaus, is there an actual credit score on there?
No, there isn't.
Can you
No,
pay extra
you
to
can.
get it?
Yes,
How
you
much
can.
is the cost to get?
To be very honest with you, I don't know the exact cost, but it's a few dollars.
A few dollars. Okay.
You know,
So it's just a few dollars.
yeah,
If you have a few dollars to actually be able to get your credit score, I think you should spend a few dollars to actually see it. Because if someone is trying to rent a place right now and they have their credit report but doesn't have scores, can it kind of like stop them from getting a place possibly because they don't have the credit score on
Oh,
there?
absolutely, absolutely. It's kind of like getting looking at your doctor's files and just reading what they have written. It's you see the information, but that doesn't translate to anything.
Sure.
So in the same sense, when you see your credit report, it just it tells you you had some delinquencies here, maybe not. This is it, but it doesn't mean anything to you tangibly until you see what the scores are. That's where this means if it's what kind of diagnosis, if you will, that you have, and that's of course what ultimately the person who is viewing your credit, that's what they want to know. They may choose to look deeper, but typically if they see that you're in again high 700s, they're not really going to dig that much further. But you may be, let's say, in the middle ground of a 600, and you have, let's say, a foreclosure on, and there may be some points you want to argue to that person to say that, listen, these delinquencies were on the earlier side of when I started my credit history, because delinquencies will remain for 7 years, some bankruptcies up to 10. Um, Unpaid tax liens could stay up to 15. Now, again, if these are on the front end and your credit history, let's say in the last 3, 4, 5 years, has been great, but you've had some hard times, things have happened, you may want to present them your actual credit report. But again, there you want it to be correct. So that I would absolutely make sure that that information is right.
And how long does it normally take for someone's credit to be fixed once they've done all the steps to?
It's hard thing to say, because what happens is when that company reports back to your agency to say that this is not on there anymore, it depends on how fast, quite frankly, they want to work. If they're not mandated by any measure to say it's going to take a week, then really that's really if it took a week, that would be fantastic. I mean, it might be 30 days, it might be 60 days, it might be 90 days, it might be 180 days. It really depends upon the credit reporting agency how fast they want to work. It depends upon how fast the credit card company or whoever has your debt or had your debt wants to release that information to you. Yeah, they're not in a hurry at that point because you're not a necessarily a cardholder anymore. So you want to be proactive and you want to investigate this. You don't want to say we're looking for apartments next week. Maybe we should check our credit report now because if something is wrong, there's probably very little you can do to officially fix it at that point. Of course, you can always talk to the person and show them and say this is not true, but once they see the credit history, that's what they'll probably fall back to.
Okay. So if someone has never ever ran their credit, would you advise them to run their credit?
I absolutely would. Absolutely run your credit. Make it something that you do, just like your tax returns. Put it on your calendar. Know that when you do your returns, you pull your credit report. Make sure that you have that every year because things will fall off, which may increase your credit report, and things may pop up that you may not know about. One of the best indicators that you will have that something might be funny is you see the amount of inquiries increasing. People basically trying to apply for a credit card based on your information. And if you recognize or don't recognize, more importantly, some of that information, you might want to question what's going on. Contact that company and say, who applied for this? When did this happen? That will be the start of what you might see as someone trying to actually use your identity, trying to use your
I'm
information.
so glad that you're mentioning that because if someone constantly is trying to apply for a credit card, does that hurt their credit score?
Inquiries will absolutely be viewed. Numerous inquiries, I should say, can be viewed as negative. For that reason, they're showing that the agency is going to see that there are numerous inquiries, and that means obviously someone trying to obtain debt. They're trying to obtain credit rather, and credit card or rather the credit reporting agencies will view that as a negative indication if you're trying to obtain too much of it. And so if you're trying to get credit cards and then you all say, well, I'm going to go buy a car now, and that they're absolutely going to pull your credit report at that point, and they see all those inquiries, they're going to say, well, you were obviously refused because you had inquired so much, or even if you did get it, now you have a high potential debt ratio, and that's not good either. So either way, they're going to look at that as a potential negative.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show today, Joe,
That
and
was my
just
pleasure.
giving, America, hey, we said that we were going to give you valuable information, and we are. You have to understand that your credit report, your numbers, those numbers on your credit, they're so crucial. They're like so important. Unless you have some good credit scores, you're not going to be able to purchase things. You're not going to be able to buy a home. So you have to be very conscious of taking that step and say, hey, let me run my credit and see what's happening. Run it at least once a year, right, Joe? I guess
Absolutely.
at least once a year.
Absolutely, it's very
And
true.
find out what's on there. And if there is something that's not yours, make sure you dispute and get it off of there because it could be affecting your credit. But we want to thank you so much for being on our show today, Joe. And I just wish you the best in all your endeavors. And Joe's information will be up on all the websites and on Facebook and on Twitter. So if you need to contact him for anything personally in your life regarding financial issues, he's more than available to answer any of your questions. So we will be right back after this commercial.
Thank you.
Hello, and we are back with the NJ Real Estate Show. I'm so glad that you can join us today. And I'm so glad that we had Joe Silva from Silva Financial on the show today, who shared with us the importance of credit reports and how important it is that you make sure you run your credit report at least once a year to find out what is on your credit report because there might be some items on there that are hurting your credit score and you need to make sure that you can fix it. As Joe said earlier, you can definitely contact the three credit bureaus and ask them for a credit report. They will give it to you free. Of course, it may not include your credit score, and if you want to pay a little extra to get the credit score on there, you can. But it's very important for you to know what's going on with your credit because, folks, I'm going to tell you, we're numbers in America. If you don't have a good number, you're not considered a good price. Basically, we're all a value. And when it comes to your credit score, you need to have a good credit score to be able to buy a car. I mean, well, sometimes people will still get a car even if they have bad credit, but you'll just get a higher interest rate on that loan. But you also need a good credit score to be able to buy a house because today, to buy a house, the bank runs your credit and sees what's the liability. Are you a good person that can pay off this loan? Or do you have horrible bad credit that you've never paid anybody off? So run your credit. Also, there are some free websites you can go on to get your credit report. There's the annual credit report that you can get it once a year. There's the free credit report. If you've been looking at the commercials we've been playing during this episode segment, is the freecreditreport.com as well. And remember, if there's something that you need to dispute, make sure you do it in writing. And make sure you send along the proof. Now, don't send the original now. Okay, folks? Don't send your only copy. Make a copy of the original and submit it with the paperwork to the bureaus. So if you know you've paid something off, you've already taken care of it, go ahead, submit it to them with a copy, explain to them in a letter that you've already paid it. The bureau will see it, they'll see that you've paid it, and they'll adjust it. They'll put satisfied or whatever it is that they have to do on that actual credit report. And then in a couple of weeks, in a couple of months, your credit score will change and things will start looking good for you. And then who knows, for those of you right now who have problems with credit reports, and you're not able to buy a home, you may be able to buy a home within 6 months from now, within a year from now. You just got to get your credit in order. Again, we want to let you know about the credit reports. Very important. If you have not had the opportunity to run your credit report, my advice, just like Joe Silva advised to you today, who was the expert we had on the show, run your credit report. Find out what's on there. You'd be surprised. Sometimes skeletons come out of the closet. We think we have good credit, and next thing you know, we have horrible credit. And what did Joe say? Joe said, medium credit scores are usually in the 600, excellent and superb are 700 and above. Wouldn't you want to know if you had a 700 and above credit report and you'd be like, wow, I'm in the top 10, that'd be great. But even if you only have your credit score in the medium of 600 or so, there's still an opportunity for you. There's still an opportunity to fix whatever you can on your credit report, and as well to, speak with a lending institution to see if you would even qualify at that medium score rate to even be able to purchase a home. We want to thank you for joining us for our show today. It was a pleasure being with you again. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always call me at 609-261-3011. Most of all, remember, you can always chat with me here live. I didn't see anybody chatting. I don't know what happened, but I didn't get a chat, but that's okay. Remember, you can always chat with me here live on the show, okay? And most of all, remember that I'm here. I'm here to answer any of your questions. Okay? Always look me up on Facebook. Look me up on Twitter. Look us up on the YouTube channel. Look us up on our blog, which is on WordPress.com, the NJ Real Estate Show.com, WordPress.com. So look us up, and we're hoping to see you next week. And remember, next week we are now going to also have another real estate expert in the industry with us, and they're going to be discussing with us about loans, mortgage loans. What is it that you need to do to be able to get a mortgage loan? So you want to join us next week for our show, and I look forward to seeing you. Have a great day, and remember, never give up, never give up, never give up your dreams. Your dreams can become reality. You have a great day. Bye bye, buyers.